Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. We have just completed another homeschool year. Actually, as I'm filming this, it is currently our last week of school. And so I am going to film today a kind of year in review, talk about our curriculum, how this year went, routines, and maybe some things that we're gonna switch up before this next school year. If you're new here to my channel, I am Julie. I have 5 kids. We've been homeschooling since the beginning. My oldest is just finishing up 9th grade, and I, started homeschooling him back in kindergarten, and the years just fly by. They don't always feel like it when you're in them, but getting to this point now, completing the first year of high school is really hard to believe. It's been great, and I'm just trying to really soak in and savor these last few years that I am teaching him. So my kids, the grades they have just completed are 9, 7, 6, 4, and grade 1. So I'm just gonna go through and first talk about our curriculum. I have a whole bunch of curriculum books stacked up on my bed beside me. So I'll kind of show you some of the books as I talk about them, but I'll do a flip through as well so you can see more what the books are like. And let's just go ahead and get started. So first off, we have been using the Gather Round curriculum. Hold on, let me just get my stuff organized here. Okay. I did a bit of a halfway point review as well, about halfway through the school year. And so at that point, I talked about the 3 Gather Round units that we had finished up first. And so if you want to see that, maybe to get a thorough view at our year, you can go back and watch that video. I'll link it down below. But for sake of time, I'll try not to be too long-winded because I know these videos can get really long, but I'm just going to talk about the last 3 Gather Round units that we did this year. So this is our, let me think, we started 2020, so I guess this was our 5th year doing the Gather Round curriculum, and we have enjoyed it. This unit, so after that halfway point of the year, the 4th unit we did was this one on reptiles. This one was fun. It talked about lizards and snakes and turtles and so many different reptiles we learned about, their habitats, their food, different cool things about their appearance and where in the world they live. And so many reptiles, honestly, I don't think I had ever even heard about. And so this was really educational. We learned a lot in this one. Near the end, they start to all get muddled together because a whole lot of them were from just one specific place. A lot of them are in South America, but then so many of them are in Australia. And so they start to kind of all overlap and have similarities that by the end you're like, wait, what reptile was that we learned about? But it was very good. We really enjoyed learning about some new creatures that we hadn't heard of. Our next unit was this one, and I was excited about this one. I have to say some of my kids weren't, especially my boys. They were like, music, they were not too excited about this one, but we were all pleasantly surprised with how good it was. It wasn't quite what I was imagining it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be more like music theory and stuff, but it went through and talked about all the different music genres. So it talked about pop music and rock music and classical music and gospel music and the history of each one and different instruments used. And I probably could say with confidence that this was our overall favorite unit of the year. One fun thing with Gather Round is that you can log in online with the Gather Round app, and they have resources that go with every single lesson. And so for this one, there were videos that you could watch that go along with each one. An example of pop music and maybe the first pop artist, how this music genre came to be. And so just listening to some of the music, and the kids really got to understand more than they ever had before, what the different styles were, kind of the look of that genre, and so much about different instruments. It was so much more fun than just basic music knowledge. And so yeah, we really enjoyed this one. I think we'll have to do this one again sometime. The last unit that we ended with was this one, life skills, and we were all really looking forward to this one. It was good, really good. Some of the lessons, like just so much practical knowledge, practical skills. And some of the lessons, one I remember very clearly was the one about doing laundry, and it talked about all the different symbols on the tag of your clothing, and went through and talked about what those symbols each mean, you know, like safe for washing in cold water, or this needs to be hand washed, iron on a low heat, and so on. And so the kids each grabbed a couple pieces of clothing from their rooms and were able to just look and identify what the rules were as far as washing and drying their laundry by looking at the labels. And so that was really fun. So there were some lessons like that. I will say there were more lessons than I was expecting that were very much directed to the older kids. So some units like reptiles, I felt like we could keep all the kids' attention. Some of the lessons in this one were like, that goes way above the younger kids' heads, and not just above their heads, but just it's not applicable to them at all. So for instance, getting your first job, responsible citizenship, even tech skills. Some of them were just a little bit over their heads, but I would say there was still something on each lesson that they could learn from, and we did enjoy it. Now, one downside about doing this unit, and I feel like this happens each year, is that we kind of rushed it at the end because we were just coming up in the end of the school year and we just wanted to finish one last unit. And so it just felt rushed, like we were just trying to get through it so that we could finish it before end of the school year. And so that the last unit always has a little bit of a different feel because you're just like, you're kind of wanting to be done, wanting it to be summertime, but you still have stuff to finish up. So it always has a little different taste, I guess, but it was a pretty light unit, so it worked well for that. Now, on that note, I'll stop and talk about this really quick. One thing I'm gonna do differently with Gather Round this year is we're gonna do fewer units. We typically will do 5 or 6. This year we did 6, and I felt like that was just too much. And so next year, my plan is to just get 4 units. If we finish 4 and feel like, you know what, we have time to do 1 more, maybe we'll do that, but I am not gonna push it. Our unit study is one of those things, for one, if someone's not feeling well so they can't join in our family studies, the kids each do their independent subjects. And so what will be dropped, it will be our unit study. And again, some days if maybe we have appointments or some other responsibility we have to do later on in the day that we can't get a full school day in, the unit study will likely be dropped because I want the kids to make sure they're doing their basic math and language arts and reading first. So it just felt like we had to kind of, I don't know, I'll talk more about this at the end, but this school year just felt like maybe we did too much. So I am going to pull it back a little bit next year, and we will do fewer unit studies, and I think we will enjoy it more doing it that way. The next subject we'll talk about is language arts. Drawing a blank for a second there. So my 4 younger kids each did language arts with The Good and the Beautiful. I just brought 2 books up here today, but the 4 youngest each did this, and we love The Good and the Beautiful language arts. It's really well put together. I love that it includes art, it includes geography, it includes grammar and writing and vocabulary and spelling. There's so much packed into these books. One thing I will say about these is that For one, there's some writing that the kids do in their Gather Round books. We also do handwriting in a separate workbook. And so language arts is not something that we do every single day. We usually do it 2 to 3 times a week. And so because of that, these books are fat, like packed books. This here, I have to print it in different sections because my spines can't hold the whole book, but this is like less than half of the book. This is probably about a third of what the book actually is. And so there's just, what I'm trying to say is that usually we don't complete a whole book. But one tricky thing for me is deciding where to stop. So we'll do most of the book, but then because we don't do it every single day, we get to the end of the year, we haven't finished it. But I guess it's just hard. The perfectionist in me wants to say, we're done, there's your last page. But I know realistically we're not gonna do it 5 days a week. And so sometimes it's just tricky knowing like, okay, at what point do I say, okay, that's enough for the year, we're gonna stop at this point. And then do we go to the next level the next year, or should we finish this level? So sometimes I find that to be a little bit of a tricky thing. And so I just have to be flexible with it. And I find that the levels do overlap quite a bit. So even if they haven't completed that one level, you know, if they've gotten a good portion, you know, 2/3 at least of the way through the book, then they're ready for the next level the next year. It always starts with review, and those levels do overlap. For my oldest son, for his language arts, we started for the first time this year doing IEW, Institute for Excellence in Writing, their structure and style program. And my son, my 9th grader, came so far with his writing this year, just understanding writing, understanding parts of speech better, how to write good essays. He learned so much with this program. This does only have, was it 26 weeks or something? I kind of pushed him to complete a lesson a week. So it was like, okay, well, we got to finish it, because every week has a process. Like day 1, watch a video. Day 2, watch a video. Day 3, complete your assignment. Day 4, edit it. Day 5. So it had like a full 5-day program. And so I was like, all right, get to the end, like do it every day. And I am more of a reverse planner. Like I just look at the end of the year what we've done instead of planning every day ahead of time what we should be doing, which I think works well. Once in a while though, I'm like, oh, okay, we could have relaxed a little bit because I didn't realize how few lessons were in this. I want to say he finished it like end of March or something. Like as I'm showing it to you, it's like, I'm thinking back because it's been a while since he's done this. So to end the year, he did do just some extra free writes. He did another essay just to kind of keep him writing, even though he had completed this program. So he did level 1B. Level B is supposed to be for level, so how it works is you do the first one, level 1. If you're just starting, always start with level 1. And then level B is for grades 6 to 8. Because it was his first time, I thought, you know what, let's just start with B, even though he's in grade 9. So I was thinking that this next school year he could go to 2C, because C is for high school. It's like A is grade 4 to 6, B is grade 7, 3 to 5, 6 to 8 maybe, and then C is 9 to 12, if that makes sense. It took me a while to actually kind of wrap my mind around how the levels work for this curriculum, I'll admit. Anyway, I thought he could go to level 2, but then I read no, always start at level 1, even if you're at a new, if you're going to a new grade level. So he's gonna be doing 1C in the fall. Now, to go along with that structure and style program, it also comes with Fix-It Grammar, which has been really good. Just, it goes through the story of Robin Hood, and each day he's writing out a couple of sentences and editing those sentences. So it will show a sentence for him, and then he has to go in and edit. First, label all the parts of speech and add any punctuation needed, brackets, and then he rewrites that sentence. So that's been a really good exercise for him to do each day. Still on the topic of language arts, my younger kids, well, okay, actually I guess I didn't bring it up here. My 7th grader and 6th grader both are doing the Good and the Beautiful handwriting books. And then my younger two did the Handwriting Without Tears handwriting books, which we really like. So this was my 4th grader. She was doing some work with cursive. And then my 1st grader did this book, my printing book. We definitely like, all of my kids have used this Handwriting Without Tears curriculum. I really like the layout of it. I like just the fun little activities and little coloring pictures to go along with it. And it's just very simple and straightforward. So that's been a really good handwriting curriculum for us. My 1st grader, I also decided this year to do Explode the Code with him. This is a curriculum we've enjoyed through the years. We don't do it every single year, but you know, each of my kids have done it for a year or two. And so it's just work on phonics and spelling, and it's pretty fun too. So he did level 1 this year. He kind of went back and forth each day between handwriting, language arts, and Explode the Code. Maybe that was too much, but I don't know. I think all of those were very good for him. He completed Explode the Code. He completed his two handwriting books actually. We just only made it partway through his language arts book, which is fine. My kids often, I've kind of held them back with language arts like a year or so, just because sometimes it just is too much. I feel like I would rather my kids be focusing on just handwriting and reading. And with reading, they learn spelling and vocabulary and grammar. So much is learned that way that I don't really push them if they're having a harder time with language arts, with like grammar specifically, diagramming and parts of speech and editing and all that stuff. Sometimes it just can be a lot, and it can, you know, discourage kids if it gets tricky. So we consistently keep the kids in a language arts book, just one level below what grade they're in. Okay, not surprising, but I said I was gonna try to be quick, but when you're going through 5 different levels, 5 different children's curriculum, it can just take a little bit of time. So let's go on to the subject of math. So my youngest, grade 1, he did Matthew C, and we really pushed it with math this year, and I'm so proud of him. He came so far. So he is quite advanced in math, and so in kindergarten he did his kindergarten book plus half of grade 1. So at the beginning of this year he finished his grade 1 math, and I thought maybe we'll just go partway through grade 2. But we got to the point where I was like, let's just keep going, let's push it, and let's get to the end of your grade 2 math book. And so I had to really pause and think, because in the back of my mind, I guess I'm just a little bit fearful that if I push him, like if we skip too many pages, it's going to get too hard, too quick for him. But at the same point, he was just grasping everything. He very rarely gets anything wrong. Any new concept I teach him, he gets it so quickly. And so it was like, you know what, I feel like I'm holding him back. So near the end, probably the last half of the book, he was only doing about less than half, like often only a third of the work pages for each lesson. And as long as he got the concept quickly, I was like, okay, let's skip the next 2 pages, do the next one, everything's right, let's skip the next 3 pages. And he did amazing. So proud of him that he finished this book. Now for the first time ever, he is going to do the 3rd grade 3 level. I think it's called Gamma Matthew C, because my kids have all switched to teaching textbooks in grade 3. But with Wesley, I think for one, this is more of a university level math. I mean, I have no idea, and I have no preferences. I'm not going to try to push him into doing anything mathy after school, but I know he has the ability to. And because I have no younger kids, I can be doing this with him rather than needing him to be doing it more independently, like on the computer. So he's going to do Matthew C again next year, which will be fun to get into that grade 3 book. Our other kids, so our 3 middle kids, all did teaching textbooks. We have enjoyed teaching textbooks. I love how it keeps track of all their marks. I get emails every morning, like first thing in the morning, I check my email and I can see from the day before what their scores were on their math lesson the day before. And so if I see a really low score, then I will talk to the kids and be like, let's do that over again. And I can go in and delete answers and sit down with them. The lectures are done very well. It works well for us. I think one thing I need to remember next year is to push them a little bit more in math in the middle of the school year, because sometimes what happens is maybe it's a new concept and they're like, this one's really tricky. Can I just do half a lesson today? And I say, yeah, that's fine. And so I must have done that too many times, or we took too many Fridays off or something, because like I said, it's our last week of school this week, but two of my kids still have another week of math to go. So it's just taking longer than I think it should. So I think next year, especially in the winter months when we don't have a lot going on, just spend a little bit more time on it so that we can be done earlier on in the summer. And then my oldest, I don't have his math curriculum here because he's sitting downstairs doing math right now as I film, but we got Denison math for him. He wanted to try something different. He wanted to be doing math in a workbook instead of on the computer. So Denison math has been great for us. Elijah does not love math, and I'm not going to say that Denison math has made him like math at all. He still is not a big fan of math, but I think he is liking how this curriculum is working for him. He does watch the lecture online still, which is thank you. I don't have to be teaching him algebra, but he watches the lesson, he does the worksheets, and then he can check his answers either on the computer or with the answer book. And then at the end of each unit, he does a test. And so I mark that, and it has a super easy grading system in the teacher's manual where I just write down his scores and keep a running tally on what his current score is, what his current grade is. So sometimes when it comes to a wrong question, that is where I struggle a little bit, because I'm like, I have a hard time knowing how to help him with it. It's like, it's wrong, Elijah. Do you know why it's wrong? Because just for me to wrap my mind around algebra again, sometimes I will look into it, or he'll just go back and kind of look at the lecture again to see what he did wrong. But it's very independent. And so we are continuing with Denison math for him in grade 10. Okay, what else do I have to show you? My 9th grader, again, we'll stay with him here. He did physical science with Apologia. He really enjoys science. Apologia is a Christian company. Their curriculum is very good. So he has the student notebook. We have the textbook. He watches the videos again on the computer, which has been really helpful. He's very independent here in 9th grade. People have asked me, like, is it a lot of work? Is it a lot more work now that you're homeschooling a high schooler? And there are parts of it, like especially all the marking can be quite a bit, but more than ever, his work is just very independent. Okay, my battery's almost dead, and I keep getting a notification that my camera is overheating. So I guess these are all signs that I have been filming long enough, but a couple more things here. So my oldest also, we got him to do this course. Not really a course, it's just a little study. He did book 1 and 2 this year. Fact, Faith, and Reason. It's like an apologetics course. So he has enjoyed this one. He's told me a lot of things like, did you know this, Mom? And why this is a fallacy, and scriptural basis for things, and worldview. So he did book 1 and 2. We're planning on doing more of these, continuing this into next year as well. And then, okay, what else can I show here? I think I've basically shown all the curriculum. We do a morning basket each day where we do read aloud, we do Bible curriculum. We did the New Testament Faithopedia this year, which was great. I'll show a flip through of this one. We did things like sword drills where the kids were racing to look for certain Bible verses. We did Bible memory and hymn studies. We also incorporated this one, which at first I was like, wait, should we be trying to finish this year? Nope. I think we're only about halfway through. We do this like twice a week usually. Okay, we must be over halfway. We're probably like 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through this, but we're gonna finish it this next school year. That was part of our morning basket as well. So overall, a very good year. We packed a lot into this year, and I definitely am feeling a little bit like it was too much. Yes, we took a bit of time off, like we took 3 weeks on a trip in the fall, 2 weeks off at Christmas. We took another week off in the spring. but we didn't take a ton of time off and it still felt like we had a lot. Okay, I tried to talk fast to get it all fit in, but no, my camera died. So if I can remember where I ended off. So this year, it was a good year. We did it. We finished everything. I did feel like our workload was a bit too heavy. We just felt like we didn't have the flexibility I like to have. We just felt like we had so much to do, especially, and honestly, through the year, I didn't feel like that. It was really just coming up till the end and like we still have to finish a unit study. We have all of our other subjects to finish, and it just felt like school went a little bit too long. My hope for next year is that with doing just 4 unit studies, we can be done our unit studies before June, like halfway through May. I would love to be done the unit studies, and then for the last month of school or so, it's just finishing independent subjects and not still having full school days. But then, yeah, our school days themselves, I would like to plan for a little bit more margin this coming year, where we can do some extra things. Like for instance, reading aloud. I've kind of been slacking on our read alouds and only reading like maybe 15 minutes. And then like, okay, we got to get going on to our other subjects. I would love to read for longer than that. So I want to, devote more time to that in the fall. And then just other extras like typing. My 3rd and 4th child, I want them to learn typing this year. So some of those extra things I want to make sure that we can fit into our routine this next school year. So we'll be making a few adjustments. Most of our curriculum, I think, is staying the same. I am making a few changes to our daily routine. So I'll talk more about that as the next school year approaches. Curriculum hauls will be coming up pretty soon here. I want to say mid to end of July, I should have all those curriculum hauls ready to share, so be on the lookout for that. Subscribe to my channel if you want to catch those. And I hope you enjoyed this year in review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.